and I'm going to be doing the newbie book tag today. I have my little notebook here. I wrote down my answers. I want it to be right. If I'm looking down, that's why. So let's get into it. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Well, I love to read and I want to do a lot more reading. I actually haven't had the time to do a whole lot of reading because I've been in school, and so I think this will be a really good opportunity to push myself to read more so I can jump in on some of these tags and not have the same 3 books for every answer. Also, I just really wanted to be a part of the community because everyone seems so nice and they like to have a lot of fun. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? From what I've noticed, a lot of my favorite BookTubers do all the new releases, and I also have a huge list of a bunch of old books that I never got around to reading, so I really want to delve into those. So that's mostly what I'm going to be talking about. Classics that I never read, books that you were supposed to read in school but I never read, and I really want to read those now. I think that will be different. I also want to do more in-depth discussions on my thoughts and feelings instead of just summarizing the books. I think maybe that's something I can bring to BookTube. Question number 3. What are you most excited about for this channel? Well, I think pretty much what I had already said about just getting to be a part of the community and making friends with other readers. Something I didn't mention earlier is that a lot of my friends either don't read, aren't interested in reading, which I think is crazy, or they just read different stuff that I haven't read or I'm not interested in reading, and so it's hard for us to really connect on the reading level. I do have some reads that I'm going to read just because I want to be able to talk to them about some of their favorite reads. One of them that I was not interested in reading is Sherlock Holmes. And one of my really good friends adores Sherlock Holmes, and so I found a huge bind-up of all of his books at Barnes & Noble. Actually, let me grab it. So I found this enormous book, Sherlock Holmes Stories, at Barnes & Noble, and the greatest thing about this is it was marked down to $7.98, and then it was marked down additionally to $2, so I couldn't pass it up. And so this is going to be one of those reads that I'm going to read just so that me and my friend can talk about it. Question number 4. Why do you love reading? I think it's easier for me to describe it this way. The thing I love the most about a book is the details and character development. For example, Twilight. And I'm going to be using this example a lot because it is my most favorite book. It's the book that got me into reading. And I think that is because you could get into Bella's inner thoughts and feelings and reactions about everything. And also with Edward, he's a mind reader, and so he's got a whole lot of insight. I read Midnight Sun, which is Twilight from Edward's perspective. There you really get to see everyone's thoughts and feelings around him because he can read their mind and hear what they're thinking, and I loved that edition. I really wish they had finished it, as many fans do. Just want more of that. And so any books where you really get into the character is what makes reading so great for me. Question number 5. Which book got you into reading? Twilight. Before that, I really didn't enjoy reading. We had rented the movie. The entire 2 days that we had it from Redbox, I binge watched it back to back because I just loved that movie. And then I found out it was a book, and so I picked it up and I read through all 4 of those books really quickly, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing my whole life? I love to read. I just had to find the right thing to read. That just busted open the floodgates to what is out there. More stories and worlds to jump into and characters and romance that I didn't know I was missing out on. That's why Twilight is so precious to me. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? My main questions were, how do I edit? Because what I cut out is a lot of what was I gonna say? I cut a lot of that out now that I figured out how to do it, so I was holding off for so long because I just did not know the first thing about editing, and I thought I needed to get some sort of software, and my husband's into technology. That's what he does for a living. So I kept bugging him, please help me with this, please, please, please. And he's just so busy. He just didn't have the time to help me. He didn't understand why I wanted to do this. Probably thought it was going to be a fad because I go through a lot of fads. So if I disappear one day, that's probably what happened. I was just like, oh, I got something else I got to do. So hopefully I'm going to stick around. I'm really, really, really dedicated and committed to this channel, and I love it so far. I plan on being around. So my question has changed. It's not about how do you edit, because now that I know the basics, I want to grow from there. And there's tons of tutorials online. I'm using iMovie now. I really love it. I think it has a lot to offer for a beginner stage. My new question would probably be, how do you read so much? And also, how do you remember what all these books are about to do the reviews? I really think that that's amazing, because I'll see some of my favorite booktubers go through a stack of books and they're like, and this one's about, and this is what happens in this one, and this one I gave a 4-star, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Question number 7. What challenges do you think starting a YouTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think keeping up with content. However, this notebook, I have been writing all kinds of booktube ideas, and I think it will keep me occupied for a really long time. But I also don't want my channel to continuously have the same stuff. I really want to mix it up. Question number 8. When did you start reading? Well, I kind of already said that twice already. Twilight. That really got me started reading. Question number 9. Where do you read? Well, I read mostly at home in bed. I've also been known to read while my kids are doing their swim practice or their sports practices, and I want to do a lot more of that. What I've been doing is usually taking one of my textbooks, which I never really get around to studying at those events because there's just too much going on, but I don't think it's too much of a stretch to get into a book. I also like audiobooks when I don't have time to read and sit down with a physical book. I like audiobooks. Mostly when I'm working. I actually have my own business, and I groom dogs out of my garage. So I can do whatever I want, which is fabulous. I can watch movies. My husband set up a TV down there for me, and he just got this new like big speaker because it's kind of hard to hear on my phone when I have my blow dryer on. So I have this big speaker that I can still hear over the dryer, which is great, and so I can listen to my audiobooks on that. I get my audiobooks from Overdrive. I've heard a lot of booktubers say that they use Overdrive. I think that's awesome. It's great. And I've been wanting to say, I wanted to test the theory out. I actually have my local library that's just down the street from me, but sometimes their selection's a bit limited. They're smaller. I got online and went to a different library, the Denver City Library, that's all the way downtown. I'm never physically going to go there. Why would I go there? It's like an hour away. I got a digital library card, and they just emailed me like library card number, and it's just for the use on Overdrive. So now I have like double selection, and of course Denver Public Library is going to have a huge selection. So just a tip for all of you people who like Overdrive and you want to broaden your selection. If they're out of a book that you've been wanting to read, or you're on the wait list, you can jump over to the other library, see if they have it, and it saved me a lot. And the last question, question number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? Well, I like dystopian, Hunger Games, Divergent. Like I said, I haven't read a whole lot, unfortunately, and I really want to broaden my horizons. I want to try out some more classics. And I'm also terrible at identifying genres, unless it's completely obvious, like aliens, hello, it's sci-fi. But other than that, like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, this is a contemporary something, and I'm like, what does that mean? So I'm terrible at describing genre. If I'm unsure, I'm just gonna name off a few books and you'll kind of get the gist. So Hunger Games, Divergent, Twilight, off the top of my head, supernatural, vampire books. Probably right after I finished Twilight series, I started the Sookie Stackhouse series. And they are more adult-oriented. There's a lot more sex scenes in those, but they are wonderful. There's like 13 books in the series. Those were the books that the show True Blood was based off of, but the books, of course, are so much better. They really dramatized a lot of stuff and added a bunch of junk in there that was not in the books at all. So come season 2 of the show, I was like, no, what are they doing? Like, none of this happened in season 2. But I think they kind of fixed it in like the following seasons. That was a huge read for me. I loved the Sookie Stackhouse series. I've also gotten into mangas and comic books. What got me into comic books initially was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As everyone probably knows already, it's a TV show. They had 7 seasons, and it's my all-time favorite TV show. When I don't know what else to watch or I just want background noise, I put on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm so passionate about that. I was so sad when the show ended, and then I found out that they have comic books that continue it. I think they have a season 8 and a season 9 in comic books. I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to read those. And that wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. Bye!